be upon you. Can everybody hear? So we'll start with the Great Mother and then go into meditation. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I go for refuge to the Source, consciousness and its divine names. I go for refuge to the messengers, the realizations, and the realized ones. I go for refuge to the Lama, the teachings, and the community. Through my wholehearted devotion to love and truth, may my false self vanish into the Source, and may I be a servant of the divine will. Yahu, Yahu, Ya Daim, Yahu, Yahu, Ya Qudus. O Allah and your holy messengers, Lord Jesus Christ, Muhammad, peace be upon him, Lord Buddha, I turn my heart to you and request your blessings. Empower me with truth, wisdom and insight. Homage to the perfection of wisdom, the Blessed Mother. Thus did I hear at one time. The Blessed One was residing on Vulture Peak mountain at Rajagriha, together with a great assembly of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time the Blessed One rested in absorption in the categories of phenomena called illumination of the profound. At the same time, the Bodhisattva Great Being, Noble Avalokiteshvara, while practicing the profound perfection of wisdom, looked and saw that the five aggregates are also empty of an intrinsic nature. Then, due to the Buddha's power, Venerable Sariputra asked the Bodhisattva Great Being, Noble Avalokiteshvara, how should sons or daughters of noble family train if they wish to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? The Bodhisattva Great Being, Noble Avalokiteshvara, replied to Venerable Sariputra, Sariputra, sons or daughters of noble family who wish to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should see things in this way. They should correctly observe also the five aggregates to be empty of an intrinsic nature. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, and form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness are empty. Sariputra, therefore, all phenomena are emptiness. They are without characteristics, unborn, unceasing, without stains, without absence of stains, not deficient and not complete. Sariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formations, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no texture, and no mental object. There is no element of the eye up to no element of the mind, and further up to no element of the mind consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance, up to no aging and death and no exhaustion of aging and death. There is no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment and no non-attainment. Sariputra, therefore, since bodhisattvas have no attainment, they rely upon and dwell in the perfection of wisdom. Because their minds have no veils, they have no fear. Having utterly gone beyond error, they reach the culmination of nirvana. All the Buddhas who reside in the three times have likewise fully awakened to unsurpassed and perfect awakening by relying upon the perfection of wisdom. Therefore the mantra of the perfection of wisdom is the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that is equal to the unequaled, and the mantra that utterly pacifies all suffering. Since it is not false, it should be known to be true. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is stated thus: Tayata Om Gati Gati Para Gati Para Samgati Bodhisoha. Sariputra, this is the way a bodhisattva, Great Being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that absorption and gave his approval to the Bodhisattva Great Being, Noble Avalokiteshvara. Good, O son of the lineage, it is like that. Since it is like that, as revealed, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced, and even the thus gone ones, the Tathagatas, will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Sariputra, the Bodhisattva, great being, noble Avalokiteshvara, and the entire assembly, as well as the world with its devas, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoiced and praised what the Blessed One had said. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Allah, Ya Qudus. Through the power of your baraka and my contemplation of truth, may my meditation on non-duality and the power of these holy words remove all hindrances and obstacles and bring peace to all. Allahu, 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 Haq. May all harm from shaitan and jinn be removed. Allahu, 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 Haq. May all diseases and possessing spirits be removed. Allahu, 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 Haq. May I be removed from any difficulty. Allahu, 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 Haq. May I attain everything I need on the path. Allahu, 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 Haq. Make sure we're sitting comfortably. And we'll start by feeling into your body. Check in to see if there's any tension. And very gently use the exhale to release anything held in the body. And as we're relaxing the body, we're sharpening the mind. So we have to get out of the habit of becoming sleepy when we relax the body. But the mind becomes bright, penetrating, awake. Which is what we use the in-breath for. Vitality, alertness. We use the in-breath to become fresh to this very moment. And use the out-breath to relax into the moment. That there's nothing we need to do to be. We can let down our defenses. We can let go of our intellect, our analysis, any sense of competency. Completely at ease with life in this very moment. When we start to become very deeply attuned to the breathing, to help this process of moving into the natural state. The awakened ones say, we are in our nature an eternal, formless consciousness, always present. It's present right here, right now. And the personality, the fleeting image that we see in the mirror, the various moods that unfold, are not who we really are. Can we feel any sense of that in this moment? I want you to imagine that you've just woken up from sleep and you're just sitting here with your eyes closed. You're in a bit of a daze and you're not sure what time it is. I just want you to imagine and open your eyes and you're 98. And you open your eyes in front of a mirror. And it takes you a moment to adjust because you just had a dream that you are your current age at a Dharma class meditating. And you remembered your old body. But now, as you look in the mirror, you're adjusting again to the body of a 98-year-old about to die. Would the body you see in the mirror be you? And the feeling you have before you opened your eyes, would it be who you really are? Timeless, formless consciousness that just knows. Am I talking nonsense? Or is there a truth to this timeless consciousness that is not the body image and not a concept? What is this sense of a body image being you? What is this one that gets angry, that gets happy, that gets sad? That has plans? Is it not just images and thoughts in consciousness? Really ask yourself, look in, what am I? Am I all these different moods and images, or am I consciousness? Think of all the different thoughts you've had, all the different moods you've been. Where are they now? Have they ever touched the one that is now looking? You've got a hold on this sense. I am the observer, consciousness. I am none of the thoughts that arise and none of the images. Whatever arises cannot be me because I'm observing it. And if I'm observing it and it comes and goes, it cannot be I. I want you to bring up, if you will, something very unpleasant that happened to you as a child. Maybe your parents said, "I wish you were never born," or someone bullied you at school. What were they relating to? Were they relating to you as consciousness? With your understanding of emptiness, is it not clear that they are simply relating to a projection of their own mind? And what they are saying has nothing, but nothing to do with you. In this safe space, can you see that truth? Nothing to do with you. But have you perhaps held it in your body consciousness, in your being? Can you picture that young child or young adult in your mind? An innocent child, like a child you would look at now. That child has nothing to do with what this person projected onto it. Can you see that? This is emptiness. Can you bring to mind the sense of pain, of solidifying that identity, believing it? And can you let it go? Understanding, not I. That's not me. As much as you can, examine it, this past trauma from different angles. 1. It is not your consciousness. 2. They're clearly just projecting something in their own mind. 3. If you look at that child now, they have nothing to do with the image in your mind that you have when the trauma occurred. They're just an innocent being. And 4, penetrate deeply that it's not you. Any energy that comes with it, any identity that arises, I was bad, it's not I, and release it. Abide in pure consciousness and release your past. That's false identity that was projected onto you, and a false belief that what someone said about you had any truth whatsoever to it. Use the power of truth, emptiness, to free yourself from past false identities bringing you down. Whenever something comes up that might be difficult, we just say, not I, not me, not mine. Remembering, even right now, the very idea you have of yourself is false. Think how preposterous it is to think someone else's idea of you is true, and that their idea, which is negative, has anything to do with your reality. And let it go. And be energetically free. Let go of your past. Now let go of using your mind and just feel and keep releasing on the breath. Just consciousness and breath and releasing any sense of pain, any sense that you are wrong, any sense that you are bad. You are a Buddha, nothing more, nothing less. Just breathe, release, be. Intuit it, breathe, release, be. Sense the room around you. And gently start to move the body, and we'll take a minute break to stretch and come back into the body. Be gentle. Okay, right, I'm just going to send Baron a video for you to play on. I'll just send it on here. Can I send it on Zoom? Right, in the chat, is it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Could you hear the sound there at the beginning? Oh, one sec.
Training flea.
Can you hear that? Right.
Training fleas requires a glass jar with a lid. The fleas are placed inside the jar and the lid is then sealed. They are left undisturbed for 3 days. Then, when the jar is opened, the fleas will not jump out. In fact, the fleas will never jump higher than the level set by the lid. Their behaviour is now set for the rest of their lives. And, when these fleas reproduce, their offspring will automatically follow their example.
That's the unrealized mind. And the job of the Buddhas is to awaken you to your full potential. What's that, Baron?
To the RX microphone, it's just, I don't know if it is for anyone else, but it seems
I don't know if something happens and I can't hear you properly. You're very, very, very quiet.
it's okay. It's just me then.
Just you. Your voice is very quiet. Okay. This is the understanding of emptiness. Yeah. What the fleas, that's just perfect understanding of emptiness. That reality is determined by what you think and what you do. So if you're told that you're just a material scum, accidental, with no meaning, that's what your life will be. Like the teachings on, there is no objective truth out there. This is the point. And if you're told that you're magnificent, that you can, like some yogis can fly in the sky, some can travel to different planets, some can emanate different bodies, you can love everybody in the world, you have like bliss available to you, then it becomes available to you. And like what they're talking about, the fleas, they're talking about lineage. So we have a lineage of, a lot of times, a lineage of delusion. Like our ancestral line just might be people who are just surviving in samsara and have passed on to us a whole heap of pain conditioning. It's nothing, neither bad nor good, it's just how the fleas are trained. Or some birds, you open the cage door and they don't fly out. And like we don't want to go past our current perceptions, even though they don't bring us any joy. But it's what we know. That's the ceiling. We've reached the ceiling for the fleas of the jar. They're just trained to go there, and then they won't go any further. And it's great. We see the media at work, and the culture tells us what to think and do, and then that's what people become, and they think it's real. Just out of nothing. It's like, I absolutely love the whole trans thing. It just wasn't there before. And now it's really real, and people like fighting for it. They just made it up just a few years ago. They just made it up just a few years ago. Now it's like this big thing. And it's like a transitional period where people are going, they just made it up. And there's a lot of people who know they've just made it up. And then there's the younger generation who are just, no, that's real, that's a thing. I haven't been conditioned. If you tell someone they've been brainwashed, and it's like, how many people think, oh yeah, I must be brainwashed. It's when the whole culture's doing it, then that's what you think. it's not in the Dharma. It's not really so much our concern about the motivations behind it, of why these things happen. We're just aware that they happen. Like we're aware that the fleas, if they're trained to think a certain way, that's as far as they'll go. And we're trained to, if we go into the education system, we're trained to work in a factory. I mean, the education system's changing over the last 10, 20 years. But still very similar, like 9 to 5. That's like getting ready for factory work. Industrial revolution, that's where it comes from, the 9 to 5. And you're just trained to fit into the system. Yeah, when you go and get your education, you are not trained to awaken to the greatest potential of your life. You're not trained to be able to commune with the stars, angels, like merge with a tree, go into different realms of consciousness, realize, engage in union with a partner so that you like become one. You're not trained to know consciousness. You're not trained to love all beings in the world. Did you get that at school? Any of you get the dream yoga stuff at school? You know what to do with 1/3 of your life and how to go into your consciousness and your dreams and expand your awareness whilst dreaming, and your education, and be able to communicate with dead people in the dream consciousness. Did you get that? Were you told that's what you could do? No, you're told. I used to love watching Pointless. I used to watch it with my dad. And then it's like, probably if we check a lot of the times, who we are is what we do. Like you won't feel, have you ever had that feeling you feel a bit despondent or a bit down because you don't like the job you have? And your job determines who you are, your sense of yourself. Yeah, what you're doing. If you've got a lot of friends, then yeah, you're feeling good about yourself. Yeah, you're not self-validating. Like if you walk into a room and a lot of people don't like it, it doesn't bother you. Yeah. Or you walk into a room with a lot of people who've got very kind of powerful jobs. Like you walk into a room with lawyers, movie actors, and you don't feel lower in any way, shape or form, intimidated in any way. You're not trying to impress them in any way, shape or form, because who you are is not dependent on what you do, right? I'm going to presume that, like me, at some point in your life you've had that feeling of maybe you feel a bit overwhelmed, or you're just like maybe trying to impress, or it's like, oh, there's someone famous. That's like, who we are depends on what we do. And then, so when I watch Pointless, it's like, it's just people are into travelling. I'm into travelling, football, sports, reading. There's just like maybe 10. I don't think I ever got out of 10. There's different combinations of materialistic functioning. That's who people. That's what they are. This is like, whoa, everybody. And then there was like one priest went on, and then he just tried to validate himself by showing that he's normal. Like, no, I'm into this stuff as well. It's like it's okay to be Christian. Just. They're like a double validator, aren't they? Religious people. Yeah, trying to prove that they're just like you, so you'll come to them, or whatever it is. I don't know. That's the ceiling, right? I mean, you lot are probably, don't know, maybe a little bit left of norm. And maybe you hang out with some nutters as well, like us, probably talk about, the Great Reset and, our aliens taking over, or, David Icke, or some other left field mistake, I can jump 50 feet. I can jump 50 feet high in the sky. It's like, wow. It's like, kind of, I want to be a kangaroo in my next life. I can jump high. Like that's the meaning of life, isn't it? How high you can jump. Very, very, very important. There's one, we're taught, we're socialized, and we have like a bubble. That's what Castaneda's world called it. It's like a bubble of a description of the world, and we live through that description, and it blocks everything we see. It determines everything we see, and if we have that description, we can't see anything else. You can't see Jesus. Can't. Even though you have people say like that some people say like he's mentally ill, like just who he hung out with and what he did, and they can't see it. The description of the world is we're just a physical entity, and that's it. So on one hand, emptiness, well, it can trap us, because we become what we think. This is what Buddha said in the Dhammapada. You are what you think. And this is the strange thing about our situation, that we're constantly seeking something. We're constantly, there's an ache inside our being, especially if you come to the Dharma. He's generally what brought that knows there's something else, but we're attached to our conceptual thinking that limits us and causes us pain, and we're afraid of the unknown, which is the ceiling past the lid we've been trained to think. Isn't it strange? So the job, it's not just to break the glass, it's to make, you may break the glass, and it's like your total freedom. And we're generally afraid of it. But that's what. So even if the descriptions given in the holy books, even let's say they're not even real. Let's just for argument's sake they're not real, but they pull the mind up. So if you imagine the fleas are just like hanging out here, and then the enlightened flea says, you can go to the moon. And you're like, wow. And then there's some brave flea says, I want to go to the moon. And he flies out. He realizes you can't go to the moon. But as he flies out, then he's like, realizes the situation he was in. And he's absolutely free to so many experiences, although he can't actually reach the moon. It's irrelevant. It's like the children are inside the house and the house is on fire. They don't know the house is on fire. And the dad comes back and they can't get into the house. They can only get out through a window themselves. And he says, come out, the house is on fire. And they think he's playing a game. And he says, I bought you new toys. I'll give them to you if you come out. And then they come out and they go, where's the toys? There's no toys. Look, the house is on fire. And they're like, So we're here to be magnificent, free, expand our beings, enjoy every moment of our life, to live in such a way, to other people, it's unbelievable. This is what the Dharma's for. It's to it's to have the life you've always known is true, the life you've always dreamed about. And it's like going, that's available. It's to laugh to the end of laughing, and to share to the end of sharing, to like the joy of so much joy you can't contain it. You're not afraid to open up your heart to anyone or anything. No bounds on how to be or what to think. It's to, like a Dharma life, is to be able to bring up that positive thinking and energy, be able to express it and share it freely, to spend the day laughing with your partner, just kind of overawed by love, loving every moment, loving your meal, loving seeing the sky outside, going into yourself to experience peace and love that you just can't imagine, that's just you. And then going out to just express it as a walk or as magical passes, because that's the most joyful thing you can do with your body, and live like that every day. That's what we're here for. And that's it. Our job is to investigate our fears and our suffering that stops us doing that. And it's check in, see, it's like either an intellectual conditioning we've bought into, or the harder work is what we did in the meditation. Can you release your pain? And hopefully, like emptiness is a very powerful way to do it. Because we're defenseless when we're young. And when someone does something or says something to us, especially if it's a parent or someone we trusted, we almost can't not believe it. It just becomes like part of our identity. But if you go into emptiness, you see the truth of it. It's absolutely not who I am. And you have to release that energy, because that energy goes right into the body, right? But if we confront it, this is where our freedom lies. In like releasing that old self, that old pattern. When we release an old pattern, we want to have the ability to go into a new pattern. Right? Otherwise we'll just do the same thing again. So part of the study of the Dharma is opening up our mind to the unknown, new possibilities. That's the point. Yep. There's so many possibilities. We don't know if they're true or not. Okay? We don't know if we can go to the moon or not. It doesn't matter. It's just what we thought was the limits of life is not. Okay? We release that past and then move into the unknown with courage and trust and joy. But we're moving into those spaces that we know innately is what life should be. We innately know that heaven is real. That we should be laughing with love and joyful and just loving our friends when they're happy and we're happy, and we can express that happiness and show it and like cry with love and just whatever it is. Instead of this limited, it's like, oh, what about my job? And defining ourselves through socialization. We want to start defining ourselves through God. Yeah? Through the messengers of God. And what do they say? Well, Jesus says, you're God. It's like, you don't need anyone, you don't need anything, you're a God itself. And so did Muhammad and Buddha. And it's amazing techniques from like Tantra. It's just like, just totally relate to yourself as if you're enlightened. You got like this body is appearing to you, but inside the sense of self you have, if you've done the mirror meditation, you go, right, that's not me. And when you're meditating on emptiness, this is the Heart Sutra, what arises to you, it's not you, it's not, just an image. So you just think, right, I'm Vajrayogini, Avalokiteshvara. We go to work. It's not work. It's Avalokiteshvara in his Pure Land helping people. Just all day, how can I help this person? Say, like, oh, there's someone at work, I can see that they're like tired. It's like, well, how can I help them? And you help them, it's like, And it's like, you look in, and it's, how can I help this person here? And you help them. And you recognize that they're all trapped in the flea jar. How can I help them get out? How can I help them? How can I help this person? Then the bell goes. And you go, you're still in your Pure Land. And you go back to your consort to further play. When you look in your bank account, your made-up bank account, there's extra numbers in there. Then when you sit, you dissolve all the appearances of being Vajrayogini or Avalokiteshvara into pure God. The formless, unconditioned state, no eye, no ear, no nose, no consciousness, no nothing. And then whoop, a new dream arises. It's just like bliss. You don't relate to anything else. How much do we want to just kind of hold on to the pain of thinking about politics and my political view? You attach to your political view? David Icke, might be left field, and you just enjoy, going over it and over and over it and over it and over it and over it and over it. Yeah, especially if you're 5, you've got your set it out like a overall world map view of how you can thought about everything, and you've thought all the things through, and you've got your special knowledge about it, And then this is the 5 in all of us, right? And then you can know, you can go into a conversation, you've got this special view on the world that you've figured out. And then if someone fits into that view, then you'll engage in conversation with them. But you don't realize you're so boring, it's almost unbelievable. And you're actually just saying the same patterns again and again and again. Does anybody do that? Everyone has this, like, a repetitious series of thoughts. Probably had the same thought about your job about 1,000 times, or your future. Oh, my partner, I want a partner, I'm getting this a partner. Maybe if I do this, maybe if I maybe I'll ride a motorbike. Maybe if I learn to ride a motorbike, that'd be fun. I could go traveling, and then I can meet people, and it's like this. Or you're arguing with people in your head about Donald Trump and what's going to happen. They should do this. Why don't they listen to this political view? If they listen to that, and it's just the same. Or you've got the same stories you tell people to impress people. Anybody do that? You've got your series of stories that make it interesting. I travelled here and I travelled there and I had this, and it's like, maybe you're still a bit too young to be utterly bored by your own voice. You just can't even bear to say the story. It's just like, and then I've met people in the path, and I've seen them cry when they're old. I can't bear to say the same things again. It's like you just, it's always a bit annoying when you meet a Buddha because you're just not interested. You can just see through it, like you just see through the pattern. Oh, trying to impress me pattern. Oh, I'm better than you pattern. Yeah, or if you're an 8, know-it-all pattern. Yeah, that's it. Let me tell you how great I am pattern. You must be bored of your own mind. This is like freedom. I'm so bored of it. I'm so bored of it. The mind's boring. It's not yours either. You weren't born with the English language. Anyone here born with the English? Sebastian just come out speaking English? If we took him off you, and sent him to Pakistan or Russia, they wouldn't like, oh, he's just speaking English, we can't get him to speak Russian. He was just born with English. It's not even your mind. If you want to go left field, then that's it. The Rosicrucians say, and Castaneda says, and other things, that we substituted our cosmic self, our clairvoyant powers, we traded it for the mind. Like the mind is an entity. It's like given to us, and it's used to control us. It's like the socialization, the system. And it's like a power. We can do lots of things with the mind, but we traded our innate awareness, clairvoyant self for. It's not who we are. It's something we've appropriated. If you check it, every spiritual tradition you have to be free from the mind, right? Like you have to stop the conceptual thing. It's not you. But it's what we know. And we just go back to the patterns. So, my job, the Buddha's job, is just to try and convince you to do it. It's like give you practices and things, but to try and give you I want to be free. I want to be free. And that when you're free, you'll enjoy your life even more. But of course, if you what are the chances of you, when you wake up to consciousness, get rid of this boring old pattern, that you're going to want to do the same things you did when you're a completely boring, egomaniacal moron? Because we're like, oh no, can I still do it? Inside, I still want to, do all the. Can I still go to the pub? Do I have to practice? Still have to. Can I just like hang out with people and go to the cinema still and wake up? Maybe. What are the odds? When you go into like your own internal bliss, unconditional love, look at a tree and just start crying, that you'll want to go down the pub and talk shite. What are the odds? And it's like, oh, I don't want to let that go. Unconditional love, really? I have to put in effort. No, I have to put it. Dzogchen says you don't have to put any effort. You listen to that voice, that whiny, bitchy, ungrateful voice. Can I just go straight to Dzogchen? I don't have practice. I just want to sit on my own and so ungrateful. Someone said that to the Dalai Lama, like I mentioned before. He just started crying, like bawling at the grasping mind. It's kind of like, you can just imagine. Don't you got teenage kids here? I mean, young children must be coming up for the fun time soon. Maybe you're blessed, but whiny, self-pitying, grasping mind, that going, I want enlightenment. Why do I have to love people? I want to do something now, like that's just a month. You just start crying. Yeah, part of a tradition where, people would. What's it I heard recently? That someone would give. It's like £10,000 to get some of the esoteric teachings on the Christian mysticism, like the underground stuff that's just coming out now, on the explosion of the information age. But like £10,000 would be like a common number, just get some teachings like this. It wasn't available. It's like secret, yeah. And then now it's like, no, just. But that's the way of the mind, right? That's why it's like, if it's just freely available, people just take it for granted. And then that whiny, grasping mind just thinks, no, I'll just get enlightenment whenever I want it. Like, making sense inside. We're attached. Like, what are we attached to? Are you proud of it? If you come before Jesus Christ and he says, what have you got for me? Like, show me your stuff. Like I'm completely clairvoyant and can see into your past and your soul. Are you proud of it? You proud of that? Self-pitying, poor baby me. He's like, how many people did you feed? Who did you help? What did you do your time on earth? Were you just chasing pleasure? Just concerned about yourself? Shout at your parents because they weren't perfect? Bitch about how things should have been better, bitch about how things should have been better, I should have been treated like this, I should have been treated. Is this what you're going to give them? Or have you polished your soul with unconditional love, joy, gratitude, appreciation, the gift of life, that you used it? You became yourself, child of God. It's like, Jesus, sit with me and let us talk about Father. Or look into my eyes like Rumi and Shams. Just sit and gaze into each other's eyes and travel. You ready to do that with Jesus? And what are you like? What are we? What stories are we telling ourselves about who we are? Like, just check. Is it you? Is it your story, really? Or is it the socialization process? The job you should have, the moral structure that you should have, like, you can't go into that toilet or this one, right? It's changing all the time, wrong or right, determined by politicians. Is that not the most preposterous statement you'll ever hear? Wrong and right determined by evil liars. Yeah, godless, corrupt, money-grabbing weasels determining what's wrong and right, what you should do. And if you don't do it, we've got the force. That's what the police are called, the force. Our physical muscle to grab you and put you in a cell. We determine what's wrong and right with your life, what you should do. Now, check. Is what you're doing compliant with that? Or is it compliant with the Buddhists? The Buddhists say, like, love everyone. Or do you listen to the modern psychologists who are like, remember, they've spent a lot of money getting a degree. A lot of it comes from America, so you spend a lot of money getting a degree and you have to get the money back because you're in debt. Making up psychologies and therapies, which are usually, no, you have to look after the self, and, think about number one. Are you listening to them? Have they put another ceiling on people where, like, unconditional love's just like a fantasy? I've even seen, like, spiritual teachers who claim they're enlightened saying you can't get rid of the ego. I've seen spiritual teachers say you can be depressed and enlightened. That's the ceiling. Ceiling just... So, like, what are you doing? What are you believing? It's like, check. Because the teachings on emptiness, like, that's great, but we don't want to get, well, with me on our path, you don't want to get intellectual. It's easy to get intellectual with the teachings. You need to get practical. And emptiness means we create our world, right? What world are you creating? And why? How many people do you know understand that they create the world through how they think? Or how many people think that how they think is like a special tool that they have that gives them insight into the world, but in actual fact they just perpetuate the ideas inside their own consciousness that keeps them miserable. So emptiness means we create our own world. What kind of world? What kind of world have you lived in? That's like, what's your experience been like? Just what kind of world do you think would arise to you if you just practiced unconditional love for a year? What kind of world would arise to you if you just, everyone you met, you thought, this is a Buddha? Would it be the same? Since you started the Dharma, is the world the same? No, it's not. It's totally different. Radically different. It's like, because you what? Why? There's no world out there. Just even the thought, right? Everyone could be a Buddha, and it's like suddenly, it's magic. Very quickly. Like radical shifts in the mind of what's possible, and what you relate to, and what happens, and the experiences come. You've just changed your concepts. Just raised the ceiling to empty. Isn't it great? If it wasn't empty, it'd be fixed. How do you think that'd be? It'd be stuck. It's pure potential. To what world do you want to live in? It's not easy though, is it? But this is what the training's for, right? So, does anyone have anything they want to share from your discussions, your meetups, the pages? Or what we talk about just now? I'm trying to give you a rave to think, wow, I really want to go for it. I want my life to be magical. Samaya.
I think I mentioned it last week at the Zik, but even the practice of remembering my dreams and engaging with my dream world, even though I'm not by no means lucid, but it's just showing me so clearly how the same struggle to remember my dream is the same struggle to remember what I did last week. It's exactly the same, which is very interesting and liberating in conjunction with the emptiness teachings. So it's giving things some spaciousness in my everyday experience. And it feels exciting, like it's unfolding every night, what's going to happen. And and practice is interesting as well from the point of view of, which is nothing new either, but it's got this added I can't think of the word. The stream of thoughts is so never-ending, tedious, on and on, and on, all day long. Whether I'm meditating or not meditating, but the observer is getting keener, the seeing is getting keener, and the distance is getting. So the dream, remembering the dreams and the seeing of the mind, they kind of complementing each other. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah, beautiful. Essentially, just talk about that's like the intention, awakening the intention. And just deepens. Yeah. If you get into the pages with the book, it's kind of funny, some of the stuff. The big, middle, big, small, big, middling, big, and all these like layers. But that's very similar to. We'll investigate that more. We'll do it practically when we do Mahamudra and the 4 yogas. And it's again, they have the same thing. It's like the yoga of single pointedness. Like there's the big, the middling, and the small. It's like that. And it's not linear. The Gelugpa system, it's just a teaching modality. In Mahamudra, it's not linear. Sometimes we are like absolutely awake. And then sometimes we're just totally overcome by delusion. And then sometimes we're just seeing things with almost not much effort, but there's some effort. Sometimes it's just really spontaneous. Sometimes you're just at one with something. And it's just this process of gradually going into what we call God. It's like this intention awakens. Sometimes we're running to God, and sometimes we're falling back into samsara. Anybody else? Hakim?
Yeah, just from what you were saying about feeling lucid and then just going back into, I think last week, maybe I jinxed it, but last week I was like, I can just see there's no problems if I examine it. And then out of nowhere, I had a huge security flare up and another main delusion of mine. And I was just consumed by it. The past few days, can't really seem to get out of it. And if I apply emptiness, it's just so weak. It just, so I don't really know what to do with that apart from just I've put it into my prostrations. But yeah, there's not really a question here, but something else you said. There's this sense of the last few days of kind of like a sense I'm just not putting my back into it. I know I'm practicing and I'm doing my best, but there's just yeah, it's just like maybe it's the believing in samsara, still thinking that's going to work, but I don't know what that is. It's just like when are you going to really go for it? It's a strange feeling. I don't know, but it came up.
Yeah, good and bad days. Good and bad weeks. Good and bad years in the Dharma. Yeah, it's kind of how it goes. Even in a good year in the Dharma, you have good and bad days, but it's like, we understand that rhythm. I was listening to my Lama today in a lit room. Listened to a bit. It's like really just profound stuff about. He works with children that are like born addicts. Like their parents are like prostitutes, selling them for sex. Like really hardcore, rough kids, and go through. He helps re-educate them and train them. And said this traumatic kind of response. Once they feel good, they try to go back to help, to try and heal their past. They're trying to validate themselves. And we do this a lot of the time with ourselves, with our people we know. We get into the Dharma and think we can go back. And it's like we're still trying to validate ourselves through our caregivers. Very deep thing, isn't it? And it's this thing of contextualizing the teachings. So a lot of when we go on, like the teachings on Mahamudra and emptiness, they're just smashing the ego. Yeah, like there's no one there, there's nothing there. What you're chasing. But that's after you've got a healthy sense of self. Because someone's asking the question, can we, we're really challenging ourselves all the time, but it's going, no. If you have trouble with friends or parents who drag you out of the Dharma, don't go. It's part of self-love to have healthy boundaries, to know your limits. And like I said, if you think the self isn't going to put up a fight, you're out of your mind. I said it's an absolute threat. Realization is an absolute threat to our sense of self. Think how much time and energy we've invested in ourself. And realization is going to get rid of all your stories, all of it. It's not going to go overnight. Yeah, the self will put up a fight. And it's the myth, with the Buddha, just before realization, that's when Satan attacks. And I've seen it many times. Like he's seen it many times. You're getting the Dharma. What happens? A man on a white horse appears, and then suddenly you're in a relationship. You're just like things were just going, and then samsara just comes and takes you, seduces you. Yeah. It's so many times someone's just getting their life sorted. They just get themselves sorted, and it's like back in a new job, something to distract them from the path. That's the self. It's coming back. So yeah, we have to respect it. This goes into our understanding of what commitment means and what Samaya is talking about, the intention. Like really go, I commit to my awakening. You're going to get tested. I was watching Yellowstone, and Casey goes on to a fishing quest, like with Indians, and so it's like there, and they put him in the protective circle. I was trying to think of an example. There's loads of things like films or examples you'll have. Try and find one. They put him in a protection circle, and then the elders tell him, don't leave it. And whatever arises, there can be like a negative spirit coming to seduce you. Don't believe it. And you're watching as an observer, going, surely you're not going to believe it. But when they're there, like you see the transition, if they're a good actor, and he's a good actor, you see the transition of, I know that I'm being fooled, and then you're in, the illusion grabs them. That's samsara. You think of other films or other situations, you're like, surely they won't believe it. But what's it like when it's you and it's happening? It's not so easy, is it? My girlfriend is really like this. My boss is really like this. I'm really like this. And the Buddha's like, don't be deceived. It's like, don't get attached to your conceptual mind. It's like, but I just need to think this to sort this problem out. It's like, okay, the teachings are all fine and well. It's nice to sit there, but now back to the real world, isn't it? Back to I've got to function. And how I do that is by using my conceptual mind, because that's reliable. Then we were doing the teachings, we're understanding that it's completely false, it's made up, and it's destroying all your happiness. And it's like, yeah. And then as soon as you're in the circle, and you've been 2 days without food, which is the food of your mind, and amazing thoughts will come. Insights into Donald Trump. Wow. The Avengers. And it's like, oh, that'll make the world better. And you're off, right? For 2 days on a YouTube hole. Blah, 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 blah. Lizards and David Icke. And it's like, mate, oh, that connects to that. And it's like, aren't I amazing? Isn't my insight about how things are working in the world amazing? You don't have a clue what's going on. You're just sitting in front of some coloured dots on the screen, and there's some thoughts going here. You look at the coloured dots. It's just some coloured dots, and then some thoughts going. You know, I know the world. Yeah, your girlfriend comes in and you can't see her, like she needs your help. I'm sorting the world out. Try and see. Imagine it like you're watching that film. And there's the guy in the circle, and these illusory characters come, and his girlfriend's like, come out of the circle. And he's like, no, I'm saving the world. That's us. We want to be realized and free, and that is to see things as they are. Which is without the filter of socialization, without the filter of the conceptual mind, to see things as they are. There's a beautiful story of the Dalai Lama. It's like my Lama was saying, he was with him in Dharmasala, and he said he just couldn't believe it. He said every day the Tibetan refugees would come and to see him, and he said, I will see everyone who comes. Because when they come to see him, like they realize that he's not coming back to Tibet, and they see him as the Buddha Avalokiteshvara. Like, Avalokiteshvara is not coming back, so they're going to go and see him, and that don't know now, but it used to involve life or death, because the Chinese would have snipers, so anyone trying to escape they'd shoot at them. Nice bunch, yeah? So the ones that escaped it's very difficult traveling over the Himalayas. Like people die just traveling, and then they'd come to see him. And they'd line up, just total like worship. And he said, whoever was in front of him, he would mirror them exactly. So someone would come and sit, and they'd be crying, and he'd be bawling with them. The next person would just walk in, and they'd start laughing. He'd be laughing with them. The next person going to be serious and be serious with them. And he said, there's no time to think, there's no time to put on an act, it's just spontaneous presence, reflecting back. Whoever sat, and he's like, what is going on here? Like it took him a while going, there's no one there. It's just an empty presence that responds exactly in the moment, exactly what's needed to whoever is there, exactly. Now Osho said, if you really want to meet me, because he'd meet people all the time, have no mind, and then look at me, and we will meet, and that is bliss. That's actual meeting. Otherwise, it's just the film of your mind projecting onto someone else. And Bodhisattva practitioners, they just generally become, like Sufis, they just become what you are. They don't sit there and just like in silence above you. They don't do that. They just, or they'll be a bit lower. It's no problem, right? Because they don't need validation from your eyes to be who they are. But very beautiful. We usually set up a conceptual framework of ourselves to go and be with someone, and we have a series of like maybe conversation starters. Have you ever done that? Yeah, a little, maybe go off like on the computer, conversation starter. Someone else's conversation started. And it's like, how depressing is that, you know? We're so afraid to be ourselves and to be another person. You need to go to someone else just to get a false conversation to then falsely fit it in to the situation. I've done it. It's like, it just doesn't work. It's horrible. But it's kind of like a distinction when you know who your friends are. It's that you don't have to do that. You don't have to store up stuff. And then, if you know, like got a good friend, you talk for hours all the time. Isn't it? And you're relaxed. You just be present, and like we know it from our own experience, right? Not talking about something you don't know. No, you just imagine you're just totally empty, which means you're full of God, which means you're full of wisdom, and you can respond. Then you can help. Then something new comes, right? Then you surprise yourself, because you don't know who you are either. Then life is a constant, fresh, exciting mystery unfolding, rather than a series of conceptual, solid ideas of yourself and things you'll say and viewpoints you have. I support Donald Trump, or whatever it is, you know. It's like, why can't the next person come and they tell you something about Donald Trump and you go, all right, yeah, well, that's a new thing, didn't know that. Maybe he's not so good after all. Or the other way around. There's something Venerable Geshe-la said to me, it's just like, it really, stuck. It's like, don't remain ordinary forever. So, yeah, don't be a series of cliched conversational patterns you've been given by society. Yeah. Can you trust nothingness? Can you trust emptiness? What's the line from IQ? It's like, if you cut open a seed, there's nothing there but spring. It doesn't get any better. Yeah, you can't find anything in a seed, but the whole universe exists there. It said one seed can repopulate the earth. So the entire potential of the earth is in a seed. And if you look to find it, there's nothing there. That's a fucking seed of a tree. Never mind you, the child of God. What can come out of your consciousness is Pure Lands. Or you can just go through the repetitious cycle of the series of thoughts that you've had when you're young. It's like, I'm like this, I'm like that, till you want to, innit? So boring. I probably shouldn't do that. Some people do commit suicide, but like Osho said, like it's sensitive people who commit suicide because it's insight into this, but they've no alternative. Like it's like the flea recognizing the jar. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like, of course, it's like, oh my God. But if someone else said, like, actually the whole world's available to you if you come out the jar, it's like, all right. Like, if you let go of this self, don't, whatever you do, don't commit suicide. Where are you going to go anyway? You're just going to be reborn again. except in a worse state. There's no escape. There's no escape. This is samsara. You can't put an end to your consciousness. Yeah. Release the jar. This is the self. Just release. Just whenever that depressed or down self comes, just think, all right, this is beautiful as well. What's it teaching me? Where is it going? It's showing me that I want out of this mind. Anybody else? Anyone scared to be great? Yeah. It's a very beautiful quote from Marianne Williamson, attributed to Nelson Mandela. It's not our darkness we're afraid of, it's our light. We're afraid to shine. Yeah. It's generally why we need Sangha, because it's like it doesn't mean the people here. Sangha is essentially someone you sit down with and you shine, and they light up with you. And then your light goes together. Yeah, and you can sense someone who doesn't hinder you when you're being. This is Sangha. Then you're protected. Then, if you really find a true friend, you don't need anyone else. You don't need anyone else's validation. It's kind of like what we have with a partner. If you've got someone who loves you, you don't need the rest of the world, do you? They're enough. That's like the refuge. If you don't have it, you just keep chasing people here, there. The annoying thing is when we don't have it, you start grasping it, and when you grasp it, you can't see it. That's a motherfucker. There's no doubt. It's like if you've been single for a while, you just start getting that desperation, and that just puts you off. Life's so weird, isn't it? It's part of the learning. Does anyone else have anything to come up in your sharings? Losai.
I was just going to say, I just hadn't experienced what you were just saying. Of just after having that beautiful realization of the love of my being, for like 4 days after that, it was just so much depression coming again, and I just couldn't understand really why. Because yeah, it was just like I was trying to figure out, why is this coming? What do I do? How do I get out of it? I was like, you know, going back to all like the Dharma tools, but just nothing was like changing it. I just had to just write that out. But yeah, for about 4 days, it just horrible depression and just crying and dark thoughts and just feeling physically just really tight in my head and really like heavy in my chest. Um, yeah, I don't really have a question. It's just,
No, thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. It's for you've got to remember, you're not your feelings. Yeah. For people on the Enneagram who are the mind types, it's like you're not your mind. People on the Enneagram who are heart types, you're not your feelings. When feelings come, they feel really real. Like, this is really me. I gave the example of the guy in Yellowstone, when you're going on the vision quest. and the vision comes, it feels really real. When these things come up, they really feel real. They're real feelings, right? Like we may have like strong convictions. I'm going to practice the Dharma for a week. I'm going to do 4 sessions. It'll be a good session. Like, I'm going to do 4 sessions a day for a week. And then you get tired. It's like, it's like, that's like the first barrier. Like the Dharma really is sitting through suffering. It is. Buddha says, I will show you suffering and the way through suffering. It's really how to confront the suffering. Give lots of tools to be happy, yet joyful. And these are helpful to balance it up. But when we go in deeper, at the end of the day, we have 2 problems. Boredom and restlessness. And you can get back to me and check if they are not the motivators behind everything that distracts you from practice and everything that you're doing in terms of your activity are motivated either by boredom or restlessness. We won't do it just now. Like part of what we're doing is learning how to enjoy your practice. You sit and you stop the practice when it's going well. When we get into Mahamudra, your practice starts when you get to the point when you're just like, right, I can't bear it anymore. Time to get up. That's when your practice starts, and you start sitting through that. Like, I want to do anything but sit. That's the restlessness energy. I want to go back up to, that's it. This is where we're going, and the sense of boredom, trying to fill up the void. That will come. Don't try and don't do that too soon. You can play with it every now and again, and sometimes when it happens, like to Losang, it's there. It's like, what are you going to do? Yeah, you can't practice away this feeling. It's like existential angst. You have to kind of just sit with it. But I see few people nodding their head. These are the biggies. Especially restlessness. You do a couple hours practice and it's like restlessness in it, like you're back onto the internet. Back onto chat, get some chats with your mates on the chat, just get that energy out. But that's our energy. And it's like, that's the energy that will, when we can sit through it, will transform. Then we stop going out. So very important, Losang, your feelings are your thing. That's what you've got to sit through. Disidentify, that's not me. They're just arising. Just arising. Falling, arising, falling. You are not your feelings, and you are not the thoughts that come with those feelings. You're not a good person, and you're not a bad person. Your consciousness is observing these feelings coming and going. Because when it's very difficult when you're feeling type, because they tend to take you away quicker, get swept away by a feeling quite when we're observing. And there's lots of advantages to being a feeling type, is that's with the juice of life. The mind is very beautiful. You're going to like the higher mind of interest and curiosity. It's like qualities of the higher mind, this interest in life. Yeah. Like what we're studying, the heart sutra is so beautiful. The mind is so beautiful. We're investigating and looking. But I think as we're a culture that lives in the mind, we're generally seeking love. there's a big kind of gap of love, community, sharing, feeling type. And I meet a lot of Dharma practitioners, Buddhists, I would say Dharma, Buddhists, who are very afraid of their feelings. And they rationalize it out in emptiness and awareness. Use awareness to not go into feelings. Even lamas, though, it's like, yeah, it's kind of dry, like emotional balancing. Emotional balancing may be a thing, but underneath you can tell there's a thing of being terrified of losing control. Whereas Losang, you do not have that problem in any way, shape or form. Yeah, it's a real advantage. Go into you should do the Mystic Rose meditation. It's like, for I don't know how long it is, a week. So you do an hour of crying, an hour of laughing, and then an hour of silence. Yeah, you just exhaust yourself with the emotion, and then it's like, whereas like the mind types, it's just try and get an emotion out of them. All that time, just some controlled like awareness looking at the emotion. It's like just so you don't actually feel it. Yeah, like to be vulnerable with your friend and cry in front of them and say, I really need you. They can't do it. They can't do it. And it's like, oh, I'm observing this, so, nonsense. Yeah, spiritual bypassing. Yeah. Feelings are like the juice of life, right? Yeah, I hope you've been looking into Rumi. It's just like, bah! I tell you, Losang, it'd be like, I want you to like really get into it, and like this goes for tonight about breaking the ceiling. Yeah, Rumi would be at church. Someone would, the minister would say something that he liked, and he'd just get up in the middle of church and just start whirling. People were like, what the fuck is this guy? He did not give a shit. Not a prissy moo, not like you can't behave like this, just like ecstasy. You do it in the street. You did it at funerals. Can you imagine? You go to a funeral and it's like, oh, it's one of those spiritual. It's heard that Losang's into spirituality. He's gone a bit weird. And it's like, is he coming to the funeral? Yeah, and you're there, and it's like, you just get an emotion comes about your friend. You just start whirling in the middle of the funeral. That's a wild man. That is not a lama just sitting talking about emptiness. And no, you just observe the emotional balancing. That it ain't. Yeah, you want to let yourself explode with life. Now, if you have the courage to do it, that is another issue. Or are you afraid of you won't get the validation of other people's eyes, and then you'll be lonely, and it's like, and then all the things that you're afraid of hold you down, the fear holds you down. Well, if I lose my friends here, then I'll lose this, and I better just squash myself back in to the social person that they want me to be. But that's what we have Sikha for, Sangha. I'm still waiting for people to go mental. Yeah. You don't force it in the Sufi thing. It's like genuine. It has to be like a genuine wish to dance, and then you get up and dance. So they'll have like the Sufi band, and then people get up when they move to get up. They'll be like nothing, and then they just go wild. So you don't like try and force that. You just feel it out. Like, can you do it? So in case you're wondering, I've done it. You don't do it all the time, but I've done it. Go into a big busy bar. These people just sitting down watching a band. You just go straight to the front, just going mental. And a few of you have seen me dancing. More than that, because I was younger. People just vaguely aware. You're just like, who the fuck is this guy? People come up to me, even my friend, it's like going, who are you? All those people, they're all gone, but that power of the action is with me. Can't be taken away. Or you can be a coward and just sit there and go, I wish I'd danced. How's that make you feel? You proud of that now? You glad you didn't get up and dance? Because of those people, can you even remember who was there? You got a vague memory of this. You can't even really remember who was there. But if you'd have got up and danced, you'd have been well chuffed. You'd remember that. You'd be like a sense of pride. You actually lived it. And those that matter will enjoy you. That's Sangha. Yeah. If you get up in the middle of some dance and your friends go, oh, you weirdo, bye-bye. And if your friend goes, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. I'm going to do that next time. Right. You got a friend, right? And then you encourage each other. And then your life is a wild ride when you meet a friend who's just as wild as you are, like that. I remember me and Abdul Rafiq got thrown out the pub for being too happy. The barman was like, right, you guys just get out. Because I was like rolling about on the floor, laughing, like crying, laughing hysterically. And sometimes he'd chase me around the room to make me laugh more because he wanted to see me piss myself. And just like laughing and laughing and laughing. And there was a few of us just like howling, just like the guys like, just get out the pub. Weren't drinking, like on Coke and not Coke, Coca-Cola, fizzy juice. And this was like, I remember it'd be like 8 o'clock in the evening, just getting ready for the night starting. Then we'd go to a club and just like, we'd be the first there right at the start because it's got the most space, go mental on the dance floor. And literally we'd have rings of people around us going, can we dance with you? Can we dance with you? Or you can just go to the pub and just go, I don't want to be seen to laugh. I might ruin my makeup. Or just dance around your handbag. Or guys now, maybe you dance around your phone. Maybe look at your phone. Or film yourself kind of just shuffling like that. Well, what do you think? Or have you got an idea of that you just sit quiet like all the time? That's meditation. That's the path. You have to live it. You just like, you have to transform that energy. And then live like that, and then when you get to my age, you're a lot happier just to sit. You've done it. Yeah, go for it. Don't live small. It doesn't mean all the time. It's got to be natural. Feel it. Just recognize whatever situation it is, even if it's just a conversation, the times you hold yourself back, you prevent yourself out of fear. That's what we're interested in looking at, aren't we? Does this interest you? Anyone? Just sitting there like, frightened rabbits in front of him. Does that interest you? Yeah. Juice. This is emptiness. then like what life do you want to invite? What world do you want to live in? It's your world. Yeah, read Rumi. Like, read about him. He's just the best. I put up one of his quotes on Facebook. Just in there's a lot of psychopaths in Islam. Again, like, well, this is quite difficult territory for us, and there's like, don't know how many people, a few people watch later on, maybe 15 people. It's quite difficult to convey truth. Muhammad, he's teaching to 1 billion people, more. So he's got different layers to his teaching. Yeah, there's lots of people like who are concerned about whether you put your right foot forward or your left foot forward. But you got to put your right foot forward here, and your left foot forward, and you got to hold your hands here. Yeah. That's where some people are at, right? And some people are concerned about merging their consciousness with God. I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh, that was it. Forgive me, Reem, I'll just finish off someone asked Rumi what music is wrong. Like, there's a lot of people in Islam say music's wrong. So, what music is haram? And he said, the sound of spoons in the cups of the rich, as that the poor have to hear, like the sound of the spoons and the food of the rich that the poor have to hear, of like the greed. So that's the sound that's wrong, the music that's wrong. But check out Rumi, his life, because he was like a thinker, scholar, great scholar. And then he met his master and just went for it. Yeah. He fell off his donkey, just like, boom. Yeah, his master was a gambler. Yeah. Someone who hung out with the hookers, the gamblers in the bars, didn't give a shit. Yeah. This is who Jesus hung out with. You've got to get it. He hung out with prostitutes, tax collectors, like the lowest. Yeah. I mean, for people in Scotland, like the Tories, like hanging out a bunch of Tories, prostitutes, reprobates, criminals, tattoo guy in the pub down Leith, basically hung it down Leith. Yeah. Can you imagine? He just sat there and spoke proper English. And emotional balancing. Can you imagine? Hanging out down Leith, and he just loved him. They loved him because he's real. That's who we are, right? The mask is the kind of politically correct personality. Whatever you do, do not project that into spirituality. Oh no, if you're a Buddha, then you have to speak in a certain way, and softly, in a certain way, and you'll protect my ego and say nice things about me all the time. Jesus was a wild man. A wild man. Yeah. The authorities were scared shitless of him. People, the authorities, the Muslims were scared shitless of Rumi. They're just like, what is going on? You can't control them. This, I'm saying, this represents our mind. We try to control ourselves. We're afraid of our own energies. And we have to understand skillfully how to let them out. Because if you just go onto a bus and get angry with everyone, you just get put in jail. It's not, do you know what I mean? You don't become a moron. This is why we have Sangha in class. It's like you have to skillfully know how to let this stuff out. But know that we're dealing with life. And so look at people like Jesus, Rumi. It's good to look at Buddha too. But as Osho said, can you imagine Buddha dancing? It's like, meh. So he says he's a bit limited. Such a great insight, such a great way of like poking the intellectual types. You can't imagine Buddha going into the temple with a whip. Jesus is like 2 on the Enneagram. He snaps. He goes to the 8. It's just like, wow. Can you imagine? Like this spiritual being, like with a whip, raging, like demolishing your house, like the temple, with a whip. I've seen like my couple of spiritual masters just get angry, like, and speak sternly, and it's just like people shit themselves just because they speak sternly. I can't even imagine Muji getting up from his seat with a whip and kicking the things down, but you just like in terror for truth. And against people using truth to trade it for money. Can you stand up for yourself? This is a top of like inspirational talk. That's the. Can you live your truth? This is all about emptiness. And just watch when we suppress ourselves for an image, maybe to be saintly. You ever done that? Oh, I should. I should behave like. You ever done that? Oh, look up Ikkyu as well. He's like an 8-year-old monk who had a blind teenage girlfriend. Yes, he didn't give a shit. I mean, he really didn't. So a lot of Zen people, again, don't like really. He just got like poetry talking about his cock. Zen poetry. And just like the life juice and making love. It's like 8-year-old crazy monk. But you play small all the time. So, emptiness. It's 9:40, and listen, Rahima, you got a question? No? You sure? Getting tired?
I'm okay. It was just a sharing about what you were talking about, but it's okay.
Okay. So I was trying to balance up the class tonight with the very intellectual pages that we're going through as well. But of course, if you've got questions about them, please ask. But to me, they're quite self-explanatory, what we're going through at the moment. It's like teaching dependent related phenomena. Everything is dependent on everything else. The most important thing, take away, is everything depends on how you think, your mind. and you create your world. So make it beautiful. Make it infinite. Like, don't put any ceiling on who you can be, what you can be. Have the courage to live the life that you want to live. That's the only way to make it manifest. I think Gandhi had a beautiful line, didn't he? Be the change you wish to see in the world, but be the change you wish to be in yourself. And see if things change. So on Friday we'll have Zikr. It'll be online. Just to ask a quick note, did everyone get on okay with the last Zikr? The lying down music one? Yeah, good. Something a bit different when we're online. Can't really do the usual holding hands. Is there anything else?
Any
If you-
homework for this week?
What's that?
Any homework for this week?
Yeah, just read up to the end of the Path of Meditation. And if you got on well with the meditation, again, use emptiness to go into your past trauma. And just see that how someone has been projecting onto you is not you. And release it. And you are not a bad person. And again, what we said at the very start of this course, I am a Buddha. Start to embrace it. And if anything, that image of Jesus with the whip, a Buddha can do anything. I am a Buddha. I am here to live. To open up my potential. So if you want to be guides in the future, people aren't interested in what you think. They're interested in how you lived. Yeah. Think of this emptiness as God, pure potential. Like God's waiting for you to be yourself. And that's one final thing. When you come to your deathbed, God doesn't want you to have been like Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha. He will ask you, were you you? Were you the unique being I created you to be, and you flowered? No regrets then, right? I did it. I lived. This is our great challenge. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing and listening, and let's finish with the dedications. By these virtues and meditations, may I realize the perfection of wisdom. May I deepen into the transcendent beyond and attain union with the beloved. May all beings be born from the Blessed Mother and awaken as enlightened beings. And make any personal dedications for any family members that are suffering, anyone that's ill, anyone close to your heart that needs help. Remembering that our prayers are like arcs of light that go out to help. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Amen. So, sleep well. And God bless. Thank you so much.